What's up, guys, and welcome back to my Final Fantasy XIV: A Realm Reborn podcast. We got tons of new stuff to talk about today. It's going to be a pretty interesting episode. I think you guys are going to enjoy it. I'm going to be talking a little bit about lore, a little bit of a recap on the legacy name registration and the credits from the last video. We're going to go over some of the Nico Nico stuff that came out, the Japanese live stream Windows 8 crossover promotion they were having with 14, and the two new blogs that came out simultaneously this morning. So let's get on with it, and we'll throw in some other info as we go. So the first thing I want to show you guys down here is the Final Fantasy XIV Legacy campaign. Now, I remember talking about this last time, and if you guys saw this, you remember what I went over. So basically, they had some name revisions. First of all, you can see in red, they extended to the registration period to May 7th, 2013. That's Tuesday. 7:59 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Obviously, you add 3 hours onto that if you're Eastern Time like me. It'll take you to this page, which is the Legacy Credit Application site. You have to sign in with your square-enix ID if you want to get to this page. So if you don't have one, obviously, if you're a Legacy member, you wouldn't be here if you weren't one. So here's the basic message from Yoshi P. Here's the stuff that they changed. This is the update as of April 25th. Here's all the letters that they allow, basically upper and lowercase alphabetical characters, spaces, hyphens, apostrophes, and periods. They threw in a whole bunch of stuff that wasn't available for people that were complaining that their names couldn't fit due to the rules that they gave. So they actually leaned it up a bit. And they enabled different types of hyphens and spaces and lowercase and capitalizing stuff. Basically, before you could only do capital letters for the starting letter of your first and last name, and you could either use your game character's name or your real name. Now, myself, I actually rethought it, and I decided to go with my real name instead, which isn't much different from my in-game name if you already know what it is. But you can change your name. That I wanted to also point that out. If you're not happy with your name, you can change it. It says so on here that your recent entry is the one that they'll go with. So you can change it if you still change your mind. And if your name wasn't fitting before with the guidelines that they had out, read over these rules, and I'll have this in the link description. And you guys can look over this yourselves and get your name in that credits if you're Legacy members. All right, so enough of that. Let's go on to the Nico Nico event that happened, and this is by Abrial, who's his username on the forums, and that you can see his name obviously in the top left-hand corner. He does a 14 series of articles on Dualshockers. You should check him out. He does a lot of good coverage on this game. He's very active in the community. And he was actually the first one, and I think he's the only one. And I think since then people have actually ripped from his article and reposted it, obviously, to cover this event exclusively. So it's the Final Fantasy XIV: A Realm Reborn release window confirmed in this for summer. That's right. They have a summer window. So that's ranging from any time between June and August. That's usually like summertime. So I can't go into details about beta and all that jazz, but I can tell you right now, officially, it's been announced publicly that the Phase 2 of the beta test has come to an end, and the Phase 3 should be starting up sometime soon. I know there's some rumors going around that I'm not, going to say anything yet until I see anything publicly because of obvious reasons I can't get into. But release window in summer for people that were wondering. So my guess is sometime. See, I don't want to say anything and get people's hopes up, but say midsummer. Let's just say there, and I'll get back to you guys if I hear anything concrete, because I don't want to throw people off track and give them any false hope of it coming out sooner than it actually is. But let's just say mid-June, just for shits and giggles. Okay, we'll go for that for now. But it could be any time in summer, so they could always push it back at a later date during the summer period. Now, PS4 version hinted at also in this article and this event that occurred, and then new info released also. So let's jump right into it. I'm not going to read all this stuff. Basically, it's a Windows 8 event that's in partnership with A Realm Reborn, sponsoring each other, blah, blah, blah. It's just, I don't know. I don't speak Japanese. I don't read it, so I don't know what the hell exactly is going on. I just know what I hear from the blog section and all that other stuff. So I'm just gonna go through the bulletin points now. Abriel was very helpful enough to bullet point all the important stuff that was listed, and I could not watch this. I was not able to find a stream for this or get into the actual official stream itself. So thankfully he was able to. And the first one is the game's release window has been confirmed for this summer simultaneously for PC and PS3. Now I know I got some questions on some of my previous videos asking about that, so there you go right there, just confirmation. A release for the PS4 is very possible, as the team would like to reach an audience as wide as they can. A final decision will be taken when the time is right. Now, if you remember on a previous video, a couple of videos back, I remember it was a Q&A from a letter from the producer live, and I remember pointing this out. I was talking about the PS4. I kept saying I'm pretty damn sure that it's just as good as confirmed. They just have to give it some time and let some things play out, make some deals, and actually get the game out the doors first and see how it's received before we jump to any more further steps. But if everything goes well, uh, judging based off what they've said in the past, especially from Yoshi P's concerns and thoughts, I'm pretty safe to say it's going to end up on PS4 sooner or later. I don't know how soon, I don't know how much later, but eventually I think you can see it on there, either through that new Steam Cloud thing or I don't know what it's called. I forget what it was. It's been a while since I looked at the PS4 stuff, but basically they have like an online what's that thing called? It's not like cloud gaming. I think that's what it's called, something like that. So it's like a cloud gaming type thing where you can download previous games from like PS3 or something. I heard about that. I don't know, maybe you guys can like fill me in on that, the comments, and get back to me on that. But basically that's my thoughts of how they would get PS3 owners who buy it on PS3 to play it on PS4 without having to buy it again. They just basically cloud game their other save from the PS. I don't know. I'm just speculating here, so I don't want to get your anyone's hopes up. But this is just me speculating, based off of crazy things that I've read so far. So that's PS4. I guarantee looking forward to it, expect it, but don't look forward to it anytime soon. That's what I'll say for now. As long as things go okay. If things go like 1.0 did, then obviously you're not going to see it anytime soon, and probably not at all. But hopefully that's not the case. I don't think it will be. But anyway, moving on to the next one. There will be a new music created by Nobuo Uematsu. Yoshida already confirmed this when I recently interviewed him, and he's actually right. He did do an interview recently that I did not cover in one of my videos, but I will link anyways, in case anyone's interested. And he did ask him this, and he was right. About Nobuo Uematsu coming back to do more songs for A Realm Reborn. So you have Soken, who's the sound director currently after Uematsu left, and basically he took over the game as the sound director, who is brilliant and fantastic, and I've got a lot of respect for him ever since I've heard his work. But I love Nobuo Uematsu. I love his work. I mean, who doesn't? Who's a fan of Final Fantasy? So many awesome tracks from 1.0 that I loved of his, like the Corthus theme was probably my favorite. Navigator's Glory, the theme of Limbs of Lominza, so many others, like some really really good ones. And I was really hoping he would come back for this new game, and I'm really glad that he is. So we'll have Soken doing songs, and we'll have Nobuo Uematsu coming back, hopefully doing some either remixes of the other ones from 1.0 making a comeback that people were kind of nervous about not making a return, and hopefully doing some new ones too, which would be freaking awesome. So that's for any Uematsu fans out there worried about him not being in the new game. I'm pretty sure that's a solid confirmation right there. I don't know how much more else you can need. There are plans to release a soundtrack. It may be part of the collector's edition. So that does confirm there's a collector's edition for the new Final Fantasy, and a possibility of the collector's edition having a soundtrack of the game's, I guess, Soken scores and probably some of Uematsu's from the first game. I don't know what they plan on including, but I'm assuming it's from A Realm Reborn primarily, since they already have soundtracks out there of the original game soundtrack that you could buy. Where was I? New TV commercials are in production for all the different markets: Japan, North America, and Europe. They will debut in late May or early June. So you can expect sometime next month, like maybe first, second week, there's going to be some trailers out, and possibly even further trailers throughout the course of the summer, like you said, in June as well, or June. It doesn't say May and June. It could be May or June. So, oh, I'm sorry, I actually misread that. It's not the first 2 weeks of May. It's either the last couple weeks of May or first couple weeks of June. I actually got that mixed up. Um, so, basically, what they were tailing at is Arcanist video promo would probably be coming out sometime in May, they were saying, like, or June it could be coming out also. They wanted to get Arcanist video out, showing the gameplay, because they said they probably will not, most likely, get Arcanist and Summoner in the beta for you to test. So to basically satisfy people's curiosity and what it looks like, they're going to do a video showing off all its abilities, all its, you know, stuff that you would expect from the job and the class to perform as. And I don't know how much they would show, because if you know official Square Enix gameplay videos, they're not really the best representation, but they get the job done showing what it's going to be like, at least in the early stages. So I would expect commercials promoting the game as well as the Arcanist video sometime in that summer period. So look forward to that primarily in terms of commercials, I would expect. So the next one we're looking at here is they will. All right, the current phase of the beta includes approximately 580,000 people. So that's like 500,000 people, almost 600,000 participating in the beta. And I'm sure they're not all playing constantly, but that's still a lot of people. Even if they received invites and didn't play, that's still a lot. Like, holy crap. And many more will be added with Phase 3. Yoshida can't say when beta Phase 3 will start exactly, as it depends on Sony's certification of the PS3 client. So, right now, they're not sure when Phase 3 is going to start. All right, so there's some rumors flying around. I can't answer anything yet because of obvious reasons. I can't say anything, but let's just put at this point publicly, public knowledge known as so far, that it's not confirmed yet publicly, at least in terms of the North American side, on websites outside of certain areas. I know I'm being very vague here, but I'm sure people already know what I'm talking about. But anyway, this is hard talking about it with not stepping across the line, but bear with me here. So they're not. Basically, Phase 3 is waiting for a certification from Sony for a client for the PS3 version, and I don't know all the technical details behind that, but I'm sure they have to create a separate space on Sony's platform for the game itself, and I don't know how other MMOs work on there. I've just played 11 on Xbox, and that was that. It had the whole play online thing, so I don't know how the hell that's going to work on the PS3. I doubt it's going to use Play Online. I'm pretty damn sure it's not going to involve that. It's probably going to be like an app or something, or you just launch the game like a normal game, and I guess I really cannot even tell you. But something with Sony and the certification thing, I'm not so knowledgeable on how that works, that whole process, but that's basically the reason why the Phase 3 does not have an exact date yet that they're saying, at least to us as of this point that I'm recording this video. But I guarantee soon enough, probably Monday or Tuesday or sometime next week or this week coming up, you'll probably hear something, and I'll get back to you guys on that. So without spending too much time talking about that portion, the next one is the new benchmark software that will include character creation is in development and will be released between Phase 3 and 4. So I think I talked about this in my last video, where there's going to be two benchmarks. The exploration one, which everyone has seen to death already and tested. And then there's another one that's more specific for character creation. So this is going to be between 3 and 4. It could be after 3. It could be right before 4. It could be right after 3 ends. It could be as 3 is going. I don't know how it's going to work. basically the way the character creation works in this benchmark is you create your own character. You can create all the races, all the genders, all the options that are going to be available in the full retail release, and it's only going to be a character creation. You cannot play anything except for just creating your character. Now you're probably saying, well, what's the point of this? Well, one, it's a benchmark seeing how you like the character creation in the game before you purchase it. It's completely free. And second of all, if you like your character and you are purchasing the game and you're getting obviously the benchmark before the game comes out, because it's going to be between 3 and 4 phases, you can import that character you created or the characters that you created into the actual game as actual characters. And you can name them and everything. You can give them deities and all that. And yeah, it's pretty cool. I like that, because that would suck if you create a really good character and then you got to spend like an hour, half an hour, 20 minutes more or less trying to recreate the freaking thing. So that's cool that they're bringing that. So look forward to that stuff if you're into character creation and whatnot, or if you want a head start on your character without wasting too much time on launch day. So the next one is Square Enix is planning to release collectibles related to the game after launch. Now, I don't know what they mean by collectibles. I think they mean like merchandise, like stuffed Moogles and Leave Quest keychains. That's what I'm guessing. I mean, I could be wrong here, but if that's true, if that's what they mean, that's pretty awesome. Because if, there's already tons of 14 fans, me included. And I never got around to getting into the Leave Quest cards or the little plushie Moogle, unfortunately. But if they come out with like new stuff with this new game and it's like an actual really good game that people enjoy and it's working and everything, I think having the merchandise would be pretty cool. I mean, last time having a broken game that was pretty much heralded as a failure that people hated for obvious reasons I don't even have to get into, at least not in this video, the merchandise didn't seem like that big a deal. It was like kind of tacked on. So that would be really neat if they come out with like those Meteor Survivor t-shirts the fans asked for on the forums a while back several times, and other cool stuff too. So, showing your support for 14. Let's see what else we got here. A new organization called Clan of Dawn, which I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce that because I'm just going to butcher it. But the Clan of Dawn will play an important role in the story of the new game. A new primary NPC named Alfino is a member of the clan and will be voiced by Shinosuke Tachibana. You can see the character's portrait below. So, Alfino. It looks like a female young Elezen girl, but it could be Alfino sounds kind of male-ish with the O at the end. I don't know. I honestly don't know. I mean, it's Final Fantasy, so I mean, you can obviously tell, but whether it's a young, it looks like a young Elezen. Either male or I don't know. I don't know the gender, but it's a young Elezen. It has a very interesting earring of sort. It looks like a nice white or silverish looking gem or some sort of maybe like an arrowhead or something. Very interesting hairstyle. Very Final Fantasy like. Now you notice you can't see the body piece, but if you look in the concept art, it looks very Bard like. Just by first glance, minus the hat, of course. If you look at the coat now in the 3D model, it kind of looks like a Grand Company coat mixed with like, I don't even know, like, it's very unique. I'll say that much. Like, it looks like a white cloak, or I have no idea. But it's a very interesting looking Final Fantasy-esque Elezen looking character, and it's very, very cool. I'm very interested to hear more about Alfino and the Clan of Dawn. So that sounds like a really interesting story. And that's going to actually segue into the Minfilia character, who, if you haven't played 1.0 before, she was this main character in the main scenario. And basically, when your character obtained this ability to see into the past through this ability called the Echo, this Minfilia character was sort of like the leader, the head wrangler of this group of people that had this ability, which were like select individuals. And they run this little club or hideout of theirs in the city of Ul'dah. And she took people in, she taught them, she took care of them, stuff like that. And and she kind of dropped off after the main scenario. Like once they shifted to the Grand Company sections when Yoshi P came on board, she never came back. You never saw her again. You never heard from her again. You never knew what happened to her. And in a previous letter, they showed concept art for her, and I believe I have it in my previous video of one of my, I think it was my first 2 hour long video. I had the live stream, and she was in it as a concept art piece, and they redid her whole costume. She looks completely unique now, costume wise, so she stands out more. And if you read the descriptions, basically Abriel is just describing for people, saying a relevant character in the olden original storyline of Final Fantasy XIV, and he has a link to his like story that I think I mentioned in a previous video of just basically recapping the whole story arc of the game. And it says she will play a very relevant role in the storyline of A Realm Reborn. So she'll probably have ties in with Alfino and the Clan of Dawn. I'm guessing the Clan of Dawn is like the dawn of a new age. It's a new era. Dalamud's gone. I don't know what they represent. Maybe like rebuilding Eorzea or some. I have no clue. But she has like a crystal, or he or she has like a crystal like earring. So I don't know if it has to do with Aether or the crystals or the Mother Crystal, maybe. Maybe it has to do with like a connection to the Mother Crystal and the main storyline. Or maybe it's a side story. I have no idea, but it's very, very interesting. I cannot wait to hear more about this stuff. Also about characters in the main scenario, we have Thancred over here. Again, he says you can check his main scenario if you want to learn about him. Will be voiced by Yuichi Nakamura, who is apparently a very successful voice actor in Japan that lent his vocal cords to many of the relevant characters like Alto Sayatome in Macross Frontier, and he played Sid Reigns in Final Fantasy XIII for people that actually got that far in the game to see him. I played the game in English, so I didn't know what the hell the Japanese voice actor sounded like. But that's cool. It's a guy that's obviously renowned in various works, so that's pretty cool. They're getting some quality voice actors. For people that didn't know, yes, the game's getting voice acting. And be interesting to hear the English voice actors too, because that's usually what I play the game in, even though that's contrary to most people's preferences. I don't know. It's a preference for me. I don't even ask me. But there's some things I like listening to just Japanese too. It depends really. But for me, I'm gonna be listening to this in English, so I'm kind of curious to see who are the voice actors they got for these guys. But yeah, this will be in English, Japanese, German, and French, and I'm not sure what else it'll be in, but I know those for a fact. It'll be in those languages, at least from launch. Also, we're going into let's see. The final location of the Golden Saucer is still undecided. Now, I brought up an interesting point a while back, like I'd say maybe a year and a half ago on the forums when they first got brought up. I proposed that the Golden Saucer should not be like a futuristic Golden Saucer thing. Make it a carnival. Make it like a spin on the Golden Saucer. Make it call it the Golden Saucer still, but make it a carnival, like a traveling carnival that goes like, if you can't decide where to put it, here's an idea. Here's an idea one. Make it a traveling carnival that lasts a certain amount of time in one area, and then it moves. It moves to another region. Like, it'll be in Corthus for a certain amount of time, and it'll have special events and stuff, and if it's like a holiday, like Christmas, it'll have even more special events that are like one time only during that season, special prizes that they hand out. And then the next time it'll be in like Leonesaurus, or option B, which I thought might be a little bit better depending on how they design the zones, is make it on an island. Make it kind of, because the Golden Saucer you had to get to also is kind of like isolated away. You had to take like a tram or something there in Final Fantasy VII. So why not do the same? Like, if you can't decide where to put it, create an island for the Golden Saucer Carnival, and you can travel there by boat from Limsa or from one of the boats in Thanalan or something. I don't know. And you could take it there, and it's an instant teleportation, or you could just take the ride there, enjoy the scenery, kind of like the ferry in the first 14, and it'll take you to the island. You get off, and it's like a whole instance area. You don't have to worry about, like, it's its own zone, so that fits in perfectly with the game. And you can have chocobo racing. You can make the island as big as you want. You can have different sections. You can have, like, I don't know, whack-a-mole or something, or all sorts of crazy mini games and stuff. Like, be creative, you know. I don't know, like a snowboarding mini game. You know, just mess around with it, have fun with it, go crazy, stand out, be unique. So that's my idea for the Golden Saucer, where you can put it and what you could do with it. Okay, so enough of that. Smartphone companion app will be released, allowing players to access character status, a database, their friend list, and features related to the free company. Now, this is great if you have an iPhone or whatever. I don't have any of that stuff, so I'm shit out of luck. But if I were to get one, or if any, I know all you guys listening probably have one. I'm still stuck with like a freaking 2006 phone, which is pretty embarrassing, but. I'm not going to talk about that. But if you do have one of these iPhones or whatever the hell they are these days, there's an app on it, kind of like with the security token I talked about in a previous video. And this app basically has all the crafting recipes. I'm sure it has like gathering locations. It has like maybe a bestiary or something like that. This is awesome. It really, really is. This is great. The only thing I would say is I wish this was also available in game as like a little, because you know if you guys played Ni no Kuni, you know the Wizard's Companion is like the most fucking amazing thing ever. There's even a physical copy if you like that freaking Wizard's Companion edition or whatever the hell it was called. I would love if they had a book like that for 14, where it's like a bunch of monster pages, and you can read all their stats and get like a 3D image, and you get like an alchemy section or a crafting section, gathering section, something like that would be freaking nuts. I don't know if they could do it, even if it's like sometime after launch. I would be totally okay with that, but I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. I think that would be fucking nuts. Like. Be like, instead of going to those freaking third-party websites, having an alt tab and crash your game or get like a black screen or some crap or whatever the hell you would get in the old game or something or whatever. Um, Basically, you just freaking open up a menu and you just research like, oh, I gotta find I don't know. I want to read stuff about dragons or dodos or whatever. You just open up the book, bam. You go to the table of contents, and you just like use like the mouse to scroll, or the analog stick on the controller, or the shoulder buttons or whatever. Flip through the pages like a digital book. That'd be like. Can you imagine like a quest line where you have to obtain the pages, kind of like in Ni no Kuni, and you get like when you fight a monster, you get a page from the book, and you put you put that page in your book, and you obtain that page on that monster. And if you want to get like the gargoyle page, you have to fight the gargoyle and beat him, and you obtain the page, and you stick it in your book, and you get all his stats, all his weaknesses, his animations you can cycle through and click and activate whenever you want. Like, that would be fucking nuts, man. That'd be like a whole bestiary. Like, it would have the whole freaking gathering guide, all that's like, oh, okay, I gotta stop talking about it. I'm getting carried away, but let me know in the comments if you guys feel that would be cool too. If you think it's a waste of time, also, sound off. Let me know what you guys think. I think that would be freaking nuts, but I'm not expecting it anytime soon, so I'll probably try and voice that somewhere on the forums or whatever. But anyway, PvP Coliseum will be added during Phase 4 of the beta, but all PvP points earned will be reset at release to be fair to those not participating to the beta test. So that's cool. Look forward to PvP Coliseum in Phase 4. I'll try and be covering that because the NDA will be lifted in Phase 3 and Phase 4 if you guys are lucky enough to get in. I'm going to try and cover as much of this shit as I can. No promises, because hopefully I don't have any technical difficulties like I'm prone to in some past experiences, but I'll try and get that stuff recorded. Even those that didn't play the original Final Fantasy XIV will be able to enjoy the story that will be more similar to a classic Final Fantasy game. So if you're tired of these confusing Fabula Nova Crystallis stories and shit, if you're looking for more of a traditional, simple, but yet enjoyable and somewhat deep Final Fantasy story and lore, this game is going to be right up your alley. Like, I can't imagine you not liking this story and the whole lore if you're into that Final Fantasy classic medieval Final Fantasy 4 and 6 and 5 and all that type of storyline and structure and world and art style. Like, this is like so right up your alley. The only way I can see it is like the subscription or maybe the combat being the thing in your way that would stop you from playing. But the story is definitely, I think, is going to be freaking fantastic. Judging by from what I got from Yoshi P's reign in 1.0, what he brought to the table. He knows how to do storytelling, so I have no doubt he's going to knock it out of the park with A Realm Reborn, now that it's in his hands completely. So the last bullet point is, at the beginning, there won't be Japanese-style costumes like Kamino. or kimono. But when the visual style of the game will be solidified, adding different styles will be considered. So the kimono or whatever it's called, the Japanese type dress, it was for the summer event in Final Fantasy XIV, the original one. And I actually have a video of the summer event of me wearing that thing. You can go back and check it sometime. It was like the summer of 2012 that we got those. And there was like kabutos and stuff like that for like the year of the frickin' rabbit, year of the dragon, year of the snake is this year. So we'll probably get the snake kabutos, which I think you can see those in the concept art in one of the live letters that I've covered. But not exactly sure on how they're going about that, but I'm basically just what it says. Expect it to be coming later on as the game solidifies and whatnot, and basic gist of that. So that is the whole Nico Nico thing that went on. That's all the information that Abriel can absorb. I'm going to link his post, his article, in the description, and special thanks to him yet again for doing an awesome job and covering this when a lot of us could not. So special props to him. Hey guys, what's up? I just wanted to fit in this one part that I actually left out on my first go through of my recording. And it was an update, a part 2 of the Nico Nico Chokaigi session that's going on right now in Japan with Final Fantasy XIV and Windows 8. So I'm going to scroll down here. I'm going to jump right into it before I go on to my next segment. Just to do like a post-production edit in here. Okay, so here is the second portion of bulletins that Abriel has recorded for his Dualshockers section. And special thanks again to Abriel very much for covering this. And here we go. Phase 3 of the beta test should begin in early June. Yoshida apologized for the delay and said that open beta will come as soon as possible afterwards. So that does confirm that it's in early June, like I was saying in the last segment of the Dualshockers article. Pre-orders of the game should be available for late May, around the 20th. Okay, so if you're wondering when you can finally put some money down on the game to pre-order it, there will be a collector's edition, okay? So if you want the collector's edition, you can pre-order this baby around late May. So they say around the 20th they're expecting. So head on over to your local retailers, your online site, or wherever you usually go to pre-order stuff, and be sure to mark that down in your calendar. I mean, I doubt that's going to, like, freaking sell out in pre-orders, but just be on the safe side. Head on over there early and put some money down on it if you're interested at all, especially for the collector's edition, because I hear there's some interesting stuff in it. Yoshida talked about the release date of the game next month. It will be during the hot period of summer, so, like we said before, be either late June, mid-July, give or take, somewhere around there, I'm guessing. Those that purchase the Collector's Edition of Final Fantasy XIV will still get the digital items included in the Collector's Edition of A Realm Reborn, but not the physical ones. So that does confirm there will be digital and physical items in the brand new Final Fantasy XIV Collector's Edition. So if you had the original one for the failed game in the beginning, all that stuff that was digital, like the onion helm, and I believe that was it. I don't know if it includes the garland goggles in the standard version. I'm pretty sure it doesn't, but you get basically the onion helm. Again, I guess, you should already have it, so I don't know if that's that much of a big of a deal. There's not a whole lot that came with the original Collector's Edition. It was like a shitty book, a pretty cool behind-the-scenes DVD that was on YouTube anyway, and it was just the onion helm, besides the security token, and I think that was basically the gist of it. So, if you don't have it yet, you should be able to get the onion helm again if you for some reason don't have it. But they are saying that there are new, I'm assuming there's new digital items as well, along with a soundtrack they were planning on that we said in the previous portion. Maybe some other stuff too, I don't know. Gotta stay tuned for that and see what's up. Alright, so the next portion, the next bulletin we're moving on to is extremely popular voice actress Rai Tanaka. That he's basically saying that you can see in the picture above, right here, is the voice actor he's referring to. She apparently is doing the voice for Kanisana, who is the Grand Company leader of Gridania, and she's doing the voice of Garuda, too. So that's going to be interesting. She's doing two, you pretty much say major characters, because Garuda is a major character in the storyline as a Primal, and so is Kanisana. So This is for the Japanese voice acting, so I'm not sure who the English voice actors are going to be. I'll get back to you on that. But as for Japanese side of things, if you're into the Japanese voiceover over the English dub, then you should be in good hands in terms of quality voice acting. A Realm Reborn will support both NVIDIA SLI and AMD Crossfire, so anyone that was worried about running dual cards in this game, yeah, will support it in the official release. I don't know if I can't remember if they said in beta if they would be enabling that or not, but you can rest assured that it will be in the official game, so worry not. A level sync feature will be added in Phase 3. When a player will enter the area of a lower level fate, he'll be prompted with a confirmation message for level sync. It will be opt-in, but it won't be automatic, as that could be an annoyance. There will be no need to change equipment, as the stats on the equipment worn at the time will be automatically adjusted to the appropriate level as well. Now, we've known about this for a while, level sync, I mean. We've known about that for quite a bit, but now we just have confirmed that it's like a prompt. When you come into a fate ring, basically you just click a button and bam, it auto-levels you down to whatever is recommended, so you have no worries about missing out on XP. No worries about missing out on any rewards or contribution points. And it'll auto-scale your gear down too. So you get to keep wearing your gear, but it'll just balance it out to what level it should be at, with stats-wise. So that's really cool. And also, for fans of 11 that used to level sync with friends and family, like I did, that's great to have it in the new game. So if you play a lot more than a cousin of yours, like me, for example, you'll be able to level down to him and party with him and level up still. So even if you're like level 50 and you're like maxed out, you can still level down to his level and play with him without screwing up his XP. So the original game did not have that at all. And this is a great new addition for people that play with friends and stuff that don't necessarily come on all the time as much as another person. So this is good for people that have different schedules and stuff like that. Alright, so where did I leave off? Okay, so muskets may become usable by players in the future. So it's saying that, Musketeer's still on track. They're not 100% sure of exactly when they're implementing it. It's obviously not going to be at launch, but I could be wrong. Could be a surprise. Who knows? It's Square-Enix, so they could surprise us, which would be really nice, but most likely they're not going to have it available in time for launch. It's going to be somewhere down the future. Muskets will be implemented, so it's still confirmed. They did not cancel it, but just expect it somewhere down the pipeline. Very large shields, almost as big as a player model, may become available after launch. I'm not exactly sure how that'll work. I guess I have to see like a visualization of how. I don't know. I don't know what they mean. Like, I don't know. I'm kind of speechless. Like, I really don't know what to comment on that. It's just a big freaking shield. I don't know what's the difference between a regular shield and that one, but apparently there's something. So I guess we'll find out more once they reveal more details and show some images. Since Minfilia, again, check my story recap, as he's basically saying if you don't know who the Minfilia character is. And I previously went over her already in the other article that he did. So she's regarding the main storyline, has become an important character. She'll have a completely new and sexy costume. So I also went over that briefly too, as you remember. Composer Naoshi Mizuta said he'd like to participate in scoring A Realm Reborn. 2 or 3 tunes by him may be in at launch. More tracks by various Final Fantasy composers may come after. So we know Nobuo Uematsu has a possibility of coming back. He's he basically is confirmed. He is coming back for more tunes. I don't know how many. I don't know if it's 1. I don't know if it's 2. Hopefully it's a handful at least. Naoshi Mizuta, if you're not familiar with him, he did a lot of the shit for Final Fantasy XI. Probably like freaking 80-90% of the game is probably based off him and some of the other later sound team people thingies that were on that game after they pulled Nobuo off, similar with 14 with Soken. But the new president of Square Enix, Yosuke Matsuda, will possibly appear during an upcoming letter from the producer live broadcast, probably one after the next. Yoshida recently had dinner with him. He's a friendly fellow and a good drinker. So it's going to be interesting seeing that guy on the live letter in the future. Most likely they said the one after the next one, but not too sure on that. So be interesting to see if this new head CEO is of Square Enix funding the game and taking control of the Final Fantasy series and the company overall. Kind of look forward to that. Curious. Yoshida thinks that the global cooldown was a little too long in Phase 2 of the beta. That I cannot talk anything about, but I'll just say this. That's a huge fucking topic. Okay. I'll leave it at that for now. I'll get back on that in the future. People that know what I'm talking about will automatically understand what I mean. So I apologize for that. There will be no player killing in the game, just PvP. So Coliseum battles 4v4, 8v8, 1v1, stuff like that. Warriors will change a lot in A Realm Reborn. They won't be as half-hearted between tanking and damage dealing as in the first incarnation of the game. I don't know what that means. I mean, they always butted heads with Paladin over like who's the better tank. A lot of people would argue that Paladin was gimped at the time and Warrior was better, and Warrior, even though Paladin got better, that Warrior was still a prime candidate in certain situations over Paladin for various AoE reasons and stuff, such as Steel Cyclone. And I don't know, like I don't know what's gonna happen to Warrior. I don't want it to just become a DD, because if it becomes a DD, I mean, what the hell's the difference between it's gonna be another Lancer, another Monk or something, and people always brought that complaint up back when the game first launched the first time around. So, and I don't know if it's going to be going an all-out tank or an alternative. Maybe they're just two very distinct type tanks that you can choose from compared to how they used to be. I really, guys, I don't know. I have no idea. Like I can't even tell you, even if I wanted to. Like I don't know what that means exactly. I just know what to expect. It's going to be different between half-assing tanking and I don't know. Maybe I'm just missing the lines here, but I'm definitely going to stay tuned on that and see how that develops, what they mean by that more. This next one really got me excited. The Fat Chocobo will be introduced with a patch after launch. So the Fat Chocobo from classic Final Fantasy games, like Final Fantasy IV, for example, and a couple other ones, where you can store your items on him and stuff and and you can call him and everything, and it'll just plop down, and you know, you can manage your inventory with him, kind of like a retainer of sorts. So it's gonna be interesting to see how he plays a role in the game. That's gonna be really interesting with the Chocobo art style in 14, how that's gonna look like. But I'm really excited that they're bringing it. That's freaking awesome. The game is going to launch in the hot summer, so swimsuits will probably be available. So for people that missed them the first time around and the subsequent skimpy gear that they came out with to appease players that did not get the swimsuits the first time, they have a chance of getting a third time, or second, depending on how you're looking at it, in the game. So it's going to be coming around summertime. You're going to have this summer event, which, if you guys played 14 before, you already are familiar with the summer event. If not, you could always go on my channel and check up how it looked out in the past and have somewhat of an idea of what it might look like. Okay, so the plan was to name the servers like classic Final Fantasy monsters like in beta, but people are also fond of the names from the old Final Fantasy XIV, so that option is being considered. So basically what he's saying is that the servers on the original 14 were named after weapons from Final Fantasy games, like the Riddle and, what was the other one, Excalibur and stuff like that. I'm blanking on some of the other ones. Durandale, Masamune, I believe, was another one. Kind of fuzzy in my head right now, so I'm trying to think of them. But basically, that's what we had. So in the beta, they're saying is they had stuff like monster names. Like I'm assuming Goblin, Mandragora, Chocobo, Moogle, stuff like that. So they're discussing whether they should go with those names or if they should just go back with the old ones people are familiar with. I honestly don't mind. I mean, I prefer the monsters name better, just because monsters are more iconic than the weapons that people are familiar with. But at the same time, I can understand keeping the names the same so people don't get confused about like what server people are on. I don't know. I don't think it's that big a deal. So if it was up to me, I'd go with the monster names. I think they sound a lot more attractive, in my opinion, than fucking weapon names that have no idea what they are from games that I haven't played or whatever. But anyway, that's getting a little too sidetracked. Where did I leave off last? Right, here we go. Everyone will be able to select the region of the server they want to play in freely, regardless of where they live. So if you want a Japanese server, if you want to stay with people that you're used to playing from the original game, you can stay there. If you want an American server where you have easier, if you have better input timing and less lag and better reception, you can go opt for there. Or same thing for Europeans. And I'm not sure if Australians have one either. I got to look that up again. But yeah, that'd be interesting, especially since one of my friends is an Aussie and plays over there. So I don't know what he would have to do. I don't know. We're still not quite sure on the server that we're playing on. Most likely we're just staying put where we are right now, but we'll see what happens. All right. Keep losing my place. Keep drifting off. Right. Dark light equipment will return in the Realm Reborn. Yoshida would really like to make the Meteor Survivor polo shirt available for sale to players. Now, remember in the previous article, we were talking about merchandising and stuff, things like that, collectibles. This is one of the things I remember a lot of fans, including myself, really wanted to be added to like the Square-enix store, was the Meteor Survivor shirt for people to buy because they really loved it so much. With Dalamud on it, the iconic Dalamud from the, what was it, the... Legacy campaign. They had that icon of Dalamud as a t-shirt, black t-shirt. So I would actually buy that myself if they made that available. If I can get one of my size that's not sold out, that'd be really cool. Battle Regimen will not return in the new game and will be completely replaced by limit breaks. That's already prior knowledge. We were already aware of that. Limit breaks up to level 2 will be available in Phase 3 of beta. Remember, there are 3 levels of limit break, so you're going to get the first 2 only in Phase 3, and then the final and third limit break will probably be like a level 50. So that's making me assume, okay, this is just an assumption, that we're not going to have max level characters in Phase 3, because I'm assuming if we're only up to level 2, it would be like level 40 or 35, which I think that's what it was in one of the in Phase 1 and 2 of the beta. So I'm going to be interested to see how that works and if that matches up to my guess, but I don't know. My guess is as good as yours. While the new Lodestone will appear with Phase 3, Yoshida would like to start testing the smartphone companion apps from Phase 4. But since the timing also depends on Apple, it may come later with the launch of the game. So, well, that's the reasoning behind that if that doesn't come out as soon as you expect. So keep that in mind. But cool stuff. Players will be able to change the interior, wallpaper, flooring, and ceiling of their house, but probably not the exterior, even if there will be different models to avoid incurring memory allocation problems. So to ease up on memory and stuff like that, they're cutting down on like exterior stuff, I suppose, which makes sense, but whatever helps them best maintain the game. There will be no benchmark for the PS3. It's a console, so it would be basically just like watching a trailer. Yoshida would like to introduce a lore library in the game. Okay, this one, the fans, I can tell you right now, this is a fan decision, not a developer decision, and I'll explain why in a second. For people saying that they're not fucking listening to us and our feedback, that lore library, go back in one of a previous video. I got it recorded and everything. A group of people on the Lodestone, very passionate players in the lore community and whatnot, I forget who was the one that posted the idea initially, but there was a group of people, including myself, that supported this, and we wanted a lore library for the longest time. And I remember Fern Hollis commented on this by saying it's going to be, we're going to try and make it happen and pass it to the dev team. Sure enough, the guy himself, Yoshi P, even confirms that they would really like to introduce this lore library that fans brought up. Not the dev team, fans. So they do incorporate a shitload of stuff, whether it's large or small, based off fan feedback. So they do listen to their community and basically give them what they want if they can make it happen. So it took a little bit of time. I mean, it's been quite a few months since I covered that thread on the English section of the forums on Lodestone. But the fact that they've been paying attention and considering it and really trying to put it in, it means a lot for those people that really took the time to, bring up those ideas. So that's freaking great. And me being a lore whore, that gets me giddier than a freaking schoolgirl, man. So I'm really looking forward to that. And I think lore people are really going to appreciate that, depending on how they handle it and how much is actually going to be there and how the interface will be like. So you pick up a book like Skyrim style and read through it, or maybe it'll just be like regular text bubbles like in the original game. I don't know. Hopefully they do something cool that's attractive and really enjoyable while being enveloped in the lore and stuff and learning about it. So that is really awesome. I cannot wait for that. There will be ways to share items and currency within a free company. Phase 3 of the beta will include almost all the character creation options. It's possible that it will include all of them, but probably a few more will be added for release. No starting city state will give any functional advantage over the other two. So basically, if you go to ul'dah by accident because you picked Gladiator, but you wanted to start in Leonesaurus, there won't be any advantage over which one or the other. So I can't really comment on story-wise how it's going to be compared to the original game, but just know that you won't lose anything in terms of advantages and disadvantages depending on what city you go with. So it's just different scenery, I guess, and different taste. But it's up to you guys to choose. Remember, picking whatever class you go with initially is where you start. So do some research and find out where your guilds are located if you're new to the game, and find out where you want to start. So for example, if you want to be in Leonesaurus, best choice is Arcanist and Marauder. So do some research in that, keep that in mind. Alright, so the next part is jobs will be available from Phase 3 of the beta. So if you want to test out Dragoon, Black Mage, Paladin, Monk, White Mage, Bard, Warrior, I don't think I left any out, did I? And I know Arcanist and Summoner won't be in beta, at least not known yet. I mean, they said it's going to be at launch, not in beta anytime, so you'll be able to look forward to testing those out depending on what the level cap will be, so that'd be interesting with limit breaks. Optimization for the PS3 client is pretty good now, and it can display 30 or 40 characters at the same time without straining the engine. So that's basically what the PC version, at least mine at least, of the original 14 can handle at once. It was about 20, 30, 40 players, give or take, more or less. So that's basic understanding which is a lot of people, so that's awesome that the PS3 is able to do that for console owners. Ramu and Leviathan will come after launch, followed by Shiva. Plans are proceeding smoothly for their implementation. After release, new content will be released at a very aggressive pace via patches. So he basically goes on to say that that's pretty much all the relevant information that he managed to catch. A lot of the other stuff was basically like personal questions for Yoshi P regarding his personal taste, his likes of foods, games, and so forth. So that was the portion of the second act of the Nico Nico Chokaigi session in Japan with Windows 8 and Final Fantasy XIV: A Realm Reborn. So now that I added in this little snippet, I'm going to get back to my original video progress to the Beastmen and Primal Section. Alright, so here we go. The next section is going to be the big one. This is the one that got me freaking excited. If you're already looking at the main image, you already know why. The Beastmen and Primals got a big update on their information section on the promo site. They were not on here originally, as far as I remember. And they recently added them on the 26th, just a few days ago, a couple days ago. I think it was like Friday or something. Let me check. It was the 26th, so yeah, it was Friday that they added them. So we'll jump right into it. If you want to find it, you go to World Threats, and you go down to, you can see the Garleans and, you know, like the key legatii or legatus, whatever the fuck you call them, plural. You can see the Emperor, the Garlean Empire, their technology. I'm going to cover all of this stuff, everything on this website's information section, in that lore video I told you guys about. That is all going to be wrapped up. I don't know how I'm going to do it just yet. I'm still planning it, but all this shit I'm going to be covering in that video extensively to like the frickin' T as best I can. At least the stuff that you should know, or at least need to know, the basic meat of it that'll get you wrapped around it. So, yeah, let's just dive right into the Primal section now. Someone linked this on the forums, and like I was just scrolling down, like, oh, cool, Ifrit and the amal'jaa, that's awesome. They got him on here. Maybe we'll have some new promo shots of them. Here's Ramu and the Sylphs. You can see Garuda and the Ixali, and I'm like, oh shit, they got the 3D model of Titan and the Kobolds. Finally, they're not using the concept art anymore. I was like, cool. And then I scrolled down and I saw these guys. And I'm not even kidding. I had a fucking boner that hit me in the face and knocked me out for like a couple hours. Like, I was that freaking excited. Like, you have no idea how long I've waited to see these fucking Sahajin or Sahagan or whatever the freaking way you pronounce them in the game. Like, I've been waiting since I bought this game and started playing it in Limsa, hearing about the Fishbacks, hearing about the Sahajin or Sahagan or whatever. I can't pronounce their fucking names, but I've been calling them Sahagan for like the past 2 years, but I think they're called Sahajin. I think that's the way most people are saying how to pronounce them. My friend used to call them, so I'm just going to call them Sahajin. Correct me. Please correct me if I'm wrong. I've never found anywhere on like the internet how to pronounce their names, but oh, well, anyway, so getting carried away for a sec there. The Sahajin I've been waiting to see forever. Like, I am a freaking lore nut. You may not see it in a lot of my videos or a lot of my posts on the forums, but I am a huge lore nut. You may not see me post a lot because I'm busy doing a lot of other things, but I am like, oh man, maybe not as much now since a lot of people are doing my job for me, covering the lore more, but back in the day, I was like a fucking lore machine, man. And these guys, I was like freaking foaming at the mouth to see. So I'm gonna just shut up and open the freaking screen already, because I cannot wait to get in here. And I'm going to actually read these, so I'm really excited. So, Leviathan, Lord of all waters, revered by the ocean-dwelling Sahajin. Lurking in the lightless depths, Leviathan devours all that crosses his path. In ages past, seafaring folk believed that tidal waves were a sign of the great serpent's wrath, and they sought to appease him with living sacrifices. That's pretty weird. That sucks for those people. But you see, I love Leviathan. He has like this shark-looking face with the nose. He's got like this serpent-like dragon body. Kind of look like Shenlong from Dragon Ball. It's got this beautiful, like, fruity-looking turquoise sea blue color skin. Very, very attractive. I love like the art style. It looks freaking amazing. And now you got the Sahajin down here. It looks like a cross between a piranha and the creature from the Black Lagoon, which I think is bad fucking ass. Matter of fact, I recently played and beat Final Fantasy IV, the complete edition, or what it was, the one that was on PSP that my cousin got downloaded for us for free. I beat that. I noticed that the same Sahajin models are in that game. I was like, holy fuck, it's the 14 Sahajin. That looks awesome. So I had no idea that's where they got this concept from. So that is freaking cool. Seeing like the Final Fantasy IV Sahajin like in 3D with these awesome fins and oh my god, and they're like freaking lancers and shit. Like freaking oh, and look at their skin. It's so beautiful, like the redness of the fins and the bright blue that complements the red. It's like an artist's dream. Like it goes very well with the eyes and the color palette. It looks very nice. Very as an artist myself, it's very pleasing. I really enjoy it, and I cannot wait to see those guys in game and the lore behind them more. Now that they're actually in the game and not like just mentioned in text. So it goes to Sahajin. This aquatic race of beastmen reside in a city built at the bottom of the Indigo Deep. Known for attacking ocean-faring ships and dragging sailors screaming into the murky depths, the Sahajin are often the subject of angry and fearful curses of the streets of Limsa. Since the advent of the 7th Umbral Era, these hostile denizens of the sea have taken to seizing territory along the Vilebrand coastline in order to establish new spawning grounds. Now, these guys had their own, like, following. The Serpent Reavers were, like, humans and Makote and Rogan. They were, like, members of the 5 races that you can play as that joined the Sahajin and decided to become bandits and outlaws and pillage and do all sorts of nasty shit by aligning with the Sahajin and becoming allies with them, becoming, like, followers of them, if you will. And if you look in some of my cutscenes of the opening, like, well, not the opening, but some of the, like, the early Limsa story quests, you actually see Sahajin's ships battling against like the Knights of the Barracuda, and which is basically Lim's basically like their police force. The Yellow Jackets are sort of like their army, their standing guardsmen. The Barracuda are kind of like their policing force in the city. They're, that basically manages everything that goes on there. And then they have the Maelstrom, which is like their military. So they battle against the Knights of the Barracuda in this cutscene, but you never see them on the ship. You only see like their boats with nobody on it. You see like one guy that was like this villain they used for like 2 cutscenes in that scenario and never showed him ever again. It was this dark Elazine guy called Trans Von Shed or whatever the fuck his name is. And he was basically aligning with the Sahajin, and I know I'm getting into the lore a little bit much, and I'm gonna be covering over this stuff more throughout like my lore video, but this is just basically a recap of like who the Sahajin interact with, like what they do. These guys are fucking crazy, man. Okay, they're freaking like they're nuts. I think they're worse than the kobolds. Like, at least the kobolds chill out in their caves. They do their own thing. They actually had I'll get into the kobolds later, but these are the Sahajin. Very excited to see them. I can sit here all day, like, basically jerking off to them about how freaking awesome they are and how freaking excited and surprised I was when I first saw them. But here's some screenshots I want to pull up of basically this reminds me of like an outside version of Cassiopeia Hollows. That's what it really looks like, because all the coral, the floor, the freaking the coral on the floor, the coral up there, very unique, very nice looking. I wonder if they're gonna have like because I know in the original game they had like Mistbeard Cove, where they had like their flags up and stuff. They had like flags, they had rooms, they had boats. They had, it kind of looked like Norg from Final Fantasy XI, if you haven't seen it. And I wonder if it's going to look like that, or if they're just going to be like wandering out in the open. Kind of hope that's not the case, but you see a nice front row shot of them in-game. Now, this next shot is very interesting. Now, you're probably wondering what's going on here. To the left, you see that's the Sahajin's symbol. That's their flag. Whenever you see that flag, you know the Sahajin are nearby. That's their territory. Now, if you look on the right, you see them talking. They're having a conversation. They're kind of like being dynamic. They're not just basically being standard MMO mobs. They're not just like walking around mindlessly patrolling. I mean, there are those ones that do that, but they have a lot more mobs that are sitting there talking, conversation. They're being a little bit more realistic. And look at the size. There's 2 black ones on the right and a blue one. So there's variety in color, so they don't all look copy-pasted. And you notice, now I don't know if you can tell, but at least by my eyes, it looks like the big one on the right is bigger than the 2 on the left. It looks like the 2 are young Sahajin, and the others over there look like they're young Sahajin too, with a couple of like Ariellas, which are jellyfish over there. You can see in the background the purple floaty things. And it looks like he's like an adult elder or leader or a warrior Sahajin that's like teaching them something, because he's like wielding a lance and he looks very upright. So they have some sort of like hierarchy in society. And here's the image that you can see on the front page we saw earlier of that. You see that they're primarily lancers. They use like tridents and stuff, which kind of makes sense for like a sea creature like this, which is really cool. So yeah, that's the Sahajin right there. I cannot wait to see these guys in motion and how they go. How they move, how they sound, how they act. It's going to be really, really cool. I'm really looking forward to that. All right, so our next image we're going to go to, and we're actually going to back out of here. This is the Sahajin and Leviathan. So we're going to go to, I'm going to go in order of my favorite ones. I love the Sahajin because I've been waiting to see them for so long, but the kobolds, believe it or not, are actually my favorite. Now, I know I'm a big reptile and bird fan, so it kind of is surprising I'd go with like the mammal-like rodent one. But I'll get into that in a little bit. I'll once I read Titans, whatchamacallit. So, all right. So Titan. Titan is the indomitable will of the earth made manifest, beloved of the kobold clans, compassionate and gentle. Titan is a father to his tunnel-dwelling worshippers, but woe betide those fools. But woe betide those fool enough to provoke this colossus, for when his anger is waked, the very earth trembles and heaves under the unstoppable fury of his mountainous bulk. So I kind of paused there earlier on compassionate and gentle. Now look at that guy's face. Does he look anything? I mean, anything but compassionate and gentle. I don't know. Who knows? Maybe he's really like this big Goron like softy that when you piss him off and threaten him and his people, he goes apeshit. But yeah, I'm just not getting that from the look of this guy. He looks like he's about to eat your babies or something. Like, look at that face. It's like this big gremlin looking troll thing. I mean, he looks awesome though. He's like this big rock chiseled out freaking golem looking troll dude with all these like cracks coming at him like magma or something. It looks really cool. So yeah, they finally got, well, they already had a 3D image of him in the past. Now, this is an interesting story I want to point out before I go into the kobolds. Titan, this is a fun fact. Titan was originally supposed to be the first primal released for Final Fantasy XIV's history, not Ifrit. The reason why he was already, his moveset, his cutscenes, his animations, his whole model was complete. You can go back and look at the making of Eorzea way back when, like 2 years ago, back when the game came out with the collector's edition. It's there. You can see it. There's even like data files and stuff you can go and see. The reason why they switched him out and delayed him and actually postponed him and put Ifrit in his place instead was because of the earthquake that was going on in Japan at the time of whenever the hell this was going on in the game. I think it was like sometime in 2011, I think this happened. I don't remember. It's either, yeah, I think it was early 2011. Sometime around January or February, I don't remember. Sometime in that quarter, they had this huge earthquake that devastated Japan, and they figured putting in a primal that basically is a big walking, talking fucking earthquake machine would be pretty insensitive to the Japanese and their culture, and putting out this in this game and promoting it and putting videos out there of, woohoo, I'm tossing earthquakes and shit, fuck Japan, woohoo! Like, I kind of understand why they didn't do that. So, it kind of sucks, but, I mean, you can't control that sort of stuff. And we're getting them now. We're getting them in the new game, so it's awesome. It's gonna be curious because we never got to see what his moves look like in the old game, which was much slower and more. It had a little bit more animations, more methodical based. This one's a little bit faster, so he's gonna probably be much more active with his moves and abilities and animation. So it's going to be interesting to see. I can't wait to see this guy in motion finally, doing some weapon skills and stuff. Join the ranks of Ifrit and Garuda. So that, yeah, it's Titan for you there. Look forward to him. He's going to be in hopefully sometime around launch, if not soon after launch in a big patch. But he's coming, so look forward to him whenever he may pop in. So now we're going on to my favorite Beastmen in the game, next to the Kobolds, and obviously I love all the Beastmen overall, but these guys hold a special place for me because they're so unique looking. I remember when I first saw these guys, the Goblins from 11 were never in this game yet. These were the only guys who were there, and I remember it was called the Kobold. Kobold is Ice. Kobold is Ice was like a play on words, which is supposed to be cold as ice. But Kobold as Ice was the lead quest. It was a faction lead quest. The first time anyone saw these little bastards. And I was like, holy shit, are these like the new goblins for 14? And eventually, no, they're not. They're their own race. I learned about this afterwards as I'd done extensive research and studying them and whatnot. But they always interested me. Like, they just have a very interesting look to them. Like, they look like a cross between a freaking rat, a cat, and a goblin. Like, it's just, and a gremlin too. It's just, they're very cool looking creatures. They have this armor, and they're armor smiths. They're miners. They live in a volcano called Ogamoro, which is on Vilebrand, the island where Limsa Lomin's is located. And they're just interesting. Like, they mine for their own ores. They're very like clitory. They like their ores and minerals. They're alchemists. They are expert crafters in terms of like making metals and whatnot for their, as you can see, their gear that they're wearing. They have helmets on that they make for themselves, their own weapons. Very well, obviously the weapon's a Stormax, so he probably stole it from like a Maelstrom guy or something. Or they're little thieves too, so they probably stole that from like a Maelstrom camp. But the armor they made themselves, so that's, I don't know, it's just, they're really cool. And they're jittery little fucks too. Like, they jump all over, they're like, and they just shake their tails and they freaking bounce up and down and they hop all, they're like basically like cats on crack or something. Like, if you go look, go back and look at some of my videos. There's like a video called Playing with Kobolds or something. I was like fucking around with kobolds one day. I was like bored. And you just like see the animations, like they're really interesting. Like they twitch their ears, they bob their heads, they're a little finicky. They twitch with their fingers. I don't know, it's just really interesting creatures. And this is obviously somewhere in Leonesaurus where they're just hanging around. You can go and kill them for like a quest. This one is like, holy shit. This is supposed to be Ugamoro Mines, which was inside an underground cave that led underneath the volcano on the island. This looks like it's outside, so I don't know what the deal with this is. I don't know if all these fucking Beastmen encampments are outside now. I'd be kind of disappointed if they were, but I'd probably get used to it either way. So it's not a huge deal because they look very freaking detailed. But they had this whole underground catacomb and society, which is really cool. And they seem to have expanded on top of the surface as well. You see, like, they have this very steampunk look. There's like these freaking sulfuric like ores and I don't know, minerals and shit growing all over the place. And it's just really, this is gonna be a very fun place to explore. And you probably get your ass handed to you if you're like trying to go in here solo. It's like a level 55 or something. Kobolds just chilling out, freaking aggroing you and stuff. That used to happen a lot in the old game. That was some crazy shit. And here's another one of a disco dancing kobold, where he's got Saturday Night Fever. Let's see what else. Okay, so I'm gonna read the description for these little guys. The kobolds are a race of mole-like creatures who have excavated a warren of tunnels beneath Ugamoro, a mighty peak rising in northern Vilebrand, which is the island where Limsa is located on, just to reiterate. Believing the ores of the earth to be a gift of the primal titan, these subterranean beastmen seek to divine their deity's teachings through the arts of alchemy and metallurgy. Metallurgy. Oh my god, I can't even fucking say that. Metallurgy, I'm guessing. Okay. God, tongue twister. Despite forging a peace agreement with Limsa, recent conflicts over mineral deposits have led to a resurgence of hostilities. So basically, like I was saying this earlier, the Sahajin will just tear your face off. They'll rape your women, they'll eat your children, they'll ransack your villages, they'll burn it down. The kobolds are a little bit different. They can be destructive. They make their own bombs. They make their own weapons for the most part. If not, they steal them from people. They make their own armor. They mine it throughout the volcano, which has very rare ores. But they had a peace agreement with Limsa, and there was actually Bango Zango, who was an old NPC that you talked to in Limsa for crafting, primarily. For crafters there, like armorers and blacksmiths. I don't even know if he's still in the game anymore in the new version, but he basically, if you talk to him without asking him about a quest, he would tell you the story about how kobolds used to be like friendly, and you know, they used to come into Limsa and have like a good relationship or whatnot, or maybe help around the shop, and then all of a sudden, like, they become stingy little fucks and they hoard their crystals because they're afraid of the Empire, and they just become bastards because they're afraid of everything, and you know, they want their primal to protect them, and they become all paranoid and shit. I mean, you know how it is when you summon a primal, they become tainted and all that jazz. So that's basic gist of what I'm assuming why they turned evil when they summon the primal. Sort of like with the evil sylphs and whatnot. But we'll get into that next, or eventually. I want to cover Ifrit next. So that's the kobold section in Titan. We're going to my next favorite, which is Ifrit. Ifrit and the amal'jaa. It's the big, brutish, lizard-like race, and who looks a lot like Majin Buu on the head there, with a little bit of Mamuja from Final Fantasy XI, taking some inspiration from. Now, Ifrit, Lord of Inferno, says Ifrit, the incarnation of fire and fury, is worshipped by the lizard-like amal'jaa tribe. Even amongst the primals, Ifrit is a highly given to savagery, his temper quick to erupt in a conflagration of death. His breath ignites the very air, his claws melt the strongest steel, and his twisted horns scorch the heavens. Those who would face him must be prepared to withstand the fires of hell. Now, a lot of people don't like this Ifrit because he looks very different from the previous Ifrits that look like basically like a demonic fucking goat or something. I'll be honest, I was never really a fan of Ifrit before, like in the previous Ifrits. with the exception probably being Final Fantasy XI's, which I thought looked fucking great. For some reason, it looked like a better version of that type of style. Ifrit, the new one for 14, is not only unique in its own sense, after a lot of people usually complain about 11's mobs being primarily taken over in 14's world, which I don't also mind. I actually enjoy that. But concerning Ifrit, he's a brand new version looking of Ifrit. I actually think he looks way cooler. He's like a big dragon-looking fucking lizard thing, and he matches with the amal'jaa beautifully. Like, it fits in very well, which I know is not the case with all the primals and the Beastmen, but I just think that's cool like that. He shares some sort of similarities, and he just looks freaking awesome. He kind of looks like a mix between some demonic freaking dragon or lizard and like the thing from Alien, like the xenomorphs from Alien with like the skeletal structure and like his whole bony demeanor and the spikes coming out of his back and shit. Very, very cool. Probably one of my favorite. After playing 14, Ifrit's probably one of my favorite primals now, or favorite summons, just because of the look in this game. Followed by Leviathan. Leviathan's also another big favorite of mine. I love Leviathan. And Titan's awesome too. So the amal'jaa, I love these guys. The hulking amal'jaa are a race of nomadic beastmen who inhabit the grasslands of Pagalthan, which I discussed Pagalthan in a previous video, which is where the amal'jaa reside, their area, where they subsist by hunting the native wildlife. These worshippers of the primal Ifrit believe that the region of Thanalan has been purified by sacred flame. In their efforts to reclaim this holy land, amal'jaa warriors have clashed time and again with the forces of the Sultanate of ul'dah. So they don't sound like very friendly folk, but if you played 1.0, they've tried to be peaceful in the past, but the 5 major races that you play as in the game have been reluctant to cooperate with them, and they just have been butting heads ever since, and they're just not very good. And obviously Ifrit's been fucking tainting them, so that doesn't help either with their relationship. And here's some really cool screenshots. These are aside from the 1 or 2 exceptions in my last video, these are the first official screenshots of the Beastmen in Final Fantasy XIV: A Realm Reborn. This is in Thanalan. You got a nice Lancer amal'jaa right here with his tribe symbol on the blunt part of the lance there, you can see. This looks like a Gizarm, by the way, the type of lance he's using. It's pronounced. In the back, that kind of looks like Nanawa mines. Like either... actually, I think it would be Copperbell mines, just judging by the location. It looks interesting. Kind of reminds me of something out of Far Cry 3. It looks really neat. Very nice scenery. Grass looks good. Hey guys, you grass fanatics out there. Not half bad. Rocks look pretty decent. The rocks in the background do not look as high quality, but I mean, we all been over this. DirectX 11 version, blah, 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 coming out. Looks great overall. I think it looks awesome for a slight downgrade. Here is Zaharak. The lighting looks very good here. The lighting off the rocks and the structures and stuff, and it looks a lot like the old Zaharak, just changed around a bit, like the location obviously. This looks like the entrance to Zaharak, where you got the guardsmen out front watching and patrolling. You know what? I never understood this, even in the original 14. How the fuck do they build those frickin' houses into the wall itself? Like, did they have, like, a catacomb or something running in there? Or they just, like, nail it on there? Or, like, I always wondered that. Like, how did they build that? It always, like, made me curious. But a very interesting structure. Very interesting. Very reminiscent of the original Zaharak. But I think it looks a little... it's going to obviously look a lot better because it's not going to look copy-pasted. And then here's a amal'jaa pugilist inside Zaharak. About to... whoever's the cameraman here is about to get a nasty punch to the face. Get a nice knuckle imprintment on their forehead. So, alright, so that's the amal'jaa section. So, we will be going on to my next favorite, Garuda and the Ixal. So, Garuda here. Pretty much looks the same. Looks a little bit snowier on her face. Guessing because Korthus is more of a snow region, that's where you would fight Garuda both times. So, I don't know. She looks very nice. Beautiful lime green feathers and wings. Very beautiful. Nice tits. Awesome fucking feathers and details. Great Garuda model. So Garuda, the Queen of Storms. Garuda is the chosen primal of the Exal. Though elegant of form and graceful in motion, the capricious, ruthless nature of this bloodthirsty bitch, sorry, she is a bitch, engenders mindless terror even amongst her devoted worshippers. Her wrath often erupts without warning and descend upon her victims with unbridled fury. Yeah, just for people that haven't met 14's Garuda, she's a fucking cunt, alright? She is. You'll find out real soon if you haven't met her already. Now we go into the birds, which are freaking awesome looking. Look like a cross between a dinosaur and a freaking some type of hawk or something with horns. A demonic hawk. The Exal. This aggressive mountain tribe claims the wind-blasted canyons of Zelphatol as their domain. Though their race has long since lost the capability for flight, the feathered beastmen are fervently proud of their vestigial wings. The Exal stage frequent wades into the Black Shroud, and fell trees to offer in worship to their patron deity, the Primal Garuda. Such behavior, however, leads to violent confrontations with the people of Gridania. So a little bit of a backstory. This is shooting off my memory. This is not like I'm not looking at any lore info right now, but I remember the Exal came from Zelphatol. They gave birth there. They gave they were overcrowded basically, and they can fly around. And they started getting overcrowded. I remember I forget some of the finer points in the story, but basically they migrated. They migrated to other areas. They went to Korthus and primarily the Black Shroud. Now what happened was I guess they weren't happy with their like flight ability, so they started making like air balloons to fly even higher or something like that. And I guess the god, like one of the gods up above, was not happy with that. Like they were like, "Whoa, pff, hey, whoa, whoa," and they took their wings away. They just removed them. So every Exali since then has been born without wings. So that's why you see those little pussy-looking wings on their shoulders, or their not their shoulders, their elbows, instead of like a full-fledged wing like Garuda's or something. That's what they mean in the description. So they left their homelands in Zelphatol after they got like overthrown by somebody. I forgot who it was that made them leave, but they went to that's why you see them in different areas, not one central location. You see them split up in between Natalan and some mobs spread out between in Korthus, which are still there. You also have a group of encampments in the Black Shroud also that they patrol, but not as heavily as Korthus, since they don't have the elementals there to shoo them out. And speaking of elementals in Gridania, the Gridanians are like super anal about like harming the environment and the trees. And when the Exali come in here and like mash trees down and stuff for like I don't know, to please Garuda for some means, the Gridanians like flip out, and that's why they hate the Exal. Not only that, but they're violent too. So that's the beef between the Exal and the Gridanians, and how they lost their wings, and why they cause mischief to please their guardian bitch deity Garuda, who's a real fucking whore. But a hot fucking whore too, and a lot of fun to fight. So here's a simple Exal with an interesting 12 symbol on their staff, which looks a lot like Loisoise. This is in the Black Shroud region. Just simple Exal, just chilling out, standing around on patrol. Here's Natalan, the entrance in the snowy region of Korthus, another first-time Korthus pick in the day after the Magitech images. You see the entrance here with the gates. The gates would be closed. You have to kill the Exal guardman to open the gates. You go in. There's like Exali NMs and guards that drop keys for good gear. Hopefully the Wolf Camp's still there just for old time's sake, but I'm sure they changed a lot of this around. So I'm guaranteeing the front may look somewhat similar, but I'm telling you, the inside is going to be completely different. You'll see a lot of the same houses and structures and architecture, but I don't think it's going to look like the same Natalan that we remember, which is going to be quite a shame because I think a lot of people really like Natalan. And here is another Black Shroud image of an Exali really pissed off and about to like slice someone's nuts off. And you can see a wolf in the background because they do tame wolves, just like the amal'jaa tame drakes. And the kobolds tame whatever the hell they can find. Rock-based, like some Sphene-doblins or whatever. They're like moseying around in their areas, and earth elementals or whatnot. But anyway, the Exali train their werewolves for war. They're like beastmasters, and you know. So you can see one in the background there, the tail. So that is that. And we're going to go on to the last but not least, Ramuh, with the big, crazy, freaking awesome beard and purple robe. Lightning given sage form, Ramuh is venerated by the Sylphs. Though depicted in legend as a wise and benevolent elder who harbors ancient secrets, Ramuh is a merciless arbiter of those who would defile the sacred depths of the forest, striking down interlopers with fulminating bolts of lightning. So, yeah, a lot of people were not too sold on the fact that Ramuh was the primal for the Sylphs. Now, you're probably like, well, what are these little Cabbage Patch guys doing with this big freaking gnarly bearded lightning dude? Well, think about it. Little fairies in a forest, okay? Old wise man watching over them, protecting them. Kind of makes sense lore-wise. I can see it happening. And also, there's no screenshots here, I don't think. But I don't know, maybe I can link some screenshots sometime or whatever. But if you go look online and you type in the symbols of the Beastmen, there's a lightning bolt symbol that's been there since day one of the original 14 for the Sylphs. Even on all their currency, it's a lightning bolt symbol, which hints that Ramuh is probably their guardian primal all this time. They just never came up with a concept art for him and actually implemented into the game and confirmed him. So that's my best guess. Judging based on the facts present. So moving on down to the Sylphs, these are probably the most friendly out of the Beastmen, not counting the Keekern and the Goblins, which are separated from these guys, obviously, since they're not included. But the Sylphs are an interesting breed. They're very peaceful, they're very intelligent, they're very cooperative compared to the other Beastmen, but that's not to say all Sylphs are like that. A diminutive people who dwell deep within the Black Shroud, Sylphs resemble delicate dolls wrapped in vibrant leaves, which I like to call Cabbage Patch Kids because they look like that. By and large, these woodland folk hold favorable relations with other races and have become an almost common sight since a trade in crystals was established. The Garlean invasion of the Black Shroud, however, has quickly sourced the Sylphs' view of outsiders, or soured the Sylphs' view of outsiders. So basically, what I'm assuming is there's like these. All right, I'll pull it up here. There's these purple Sylphs, and there's the green ones. The purple ones are the tainted ones. They're the ones that have summoned Ramuh, and Ramuh has poisoned them. They have become tainted and misguided, and they'll basically fuck you up. They might look like Cabbage Patch Kids, but they'll kick your ass if you're like not high enough and know what you're doing. The green ones are the good ones, so that's how you keep note visually. Here's Moonspore Grove. This is the front gate entrance. Now, there's no Sylphs here, obviously, that you can see, but I'm guessing you just kill the guardsmen, they open the gate, and there's like a series of gates just like Natalan in 1.0, and Zaharak in 1.0, and Ugamora Mines in 1.0. I'm sure it all works the same. There's like a boss at the very end, most likely, and like a series of gates and doors and chests and all sorts of mobs in there, and like a whole society and structure. Really interesting stuff. Can't wait to check that out. And here is one of the dark Sylphs, I like to call them. The good Sylphs, and then there's the dark Sylphs. These little dark bastards are casting some sort of lightning spell, it looks like. Lightning bolt or thunder, thundaga, I have no clue. But it's definitely a lightning-based spell that they're casting on someone. And that is the Beastmen section. Alrighty, I think that's all I'm gonna cover it for. I don't think there's anything else to go over. That's all. Yep, that is all the Beastmen that they went over so far. Now the Goblins and the Keekern aren't mentioned because they're not primarily Beastmen in the main crowd, but they are technically Beastmen. They're just not like the threatening ones with a primal in the main story. They're kind of like supporting Beastmen that are just there. So yeah. Check that out. I'm going to have that in the link too if you want to check out the screenshots again, read it again for yourself, get a little bit of a closer look on it. And right now, I'm actually going to go to the blog section. I'm going to see what I missed because I know I have 2 articles up right now, but I think I missed a couple others. So, did I get on a boat? I don't think I got that. Did I get this? No. No, I didn't. I didn't get this one. Okay, so I'm going to go over the on a boat, and we're going to go over Cat Scratch Fever, And then we'll just go to the next. So, okay, so we got rear window. Okay, so let me see here. It goes... Shit, now I got all these mixed up. All right, so on a boat's first. I'm going to put this over here. Then it goes Cat Scratch Fever. I'm going to put that second. Then it goes Smile, Smile, Joy, Joy. We'll do next. Which I do not have up for some reason. Which I'm going to pull up right now. More Than Meets the Odd. Or whatever that was called. More Than Meets the Odd Eye. And then Rear Window, which is the final. So it's going to go in chronological order of when these all came out. So, on a boat, this was April 23rd, 2013. Greetings, everyone. Fern Holly's back from the dead to bring you today's scoop. The problem is, these past few producers' letters have been so chock full of crunchy, chocolatey, peanut buttery goodness, I'm stuck with nothing but table scraps. Luckily, today's scraps are fit for not just any dog, but a scurvy dog. Arr! I was triumphing about the new and improved limbs of Leonesaurus this morning when I noticed something. Sure, the city-state had a smaller feel to its 1.0 counterpart, but somehow it wasn't quite the same as before. The city-state was more alive, and then that's when it hit me. Many of the NPCs were doing something. And by doing something, I don't mean staring off glassy-eyed into the distance until you come along and tells you to 1,000 words or less about how the great Leonosian lettuce is, and what he wouldn't give to have a kind adventure bring him 5 heads. Yellow jackets patrolling the streets, fishers repairing their nets, sea wolves doing push-ups with Makote sitting on their backs. Wait, what? And you can see an image here of these look like recruits for the Yellow Jackets, or Maelstrom recruits, or might say the Barracuda recruits or whatnot. Guessing because they're wearing black and they're doing push-ups and exercises, kind of like boot camp somewhere in the city of Leonesaurus. And I guess they train them and prep them up, and I guess when they graduate, they get like their yellow jackets and become like a Yellow Jacket official. That'd be pretty cool. That's what it looks like it's going on here. He continues down here by saying, okay, I'm sure that's perfectly good story to go along with this, but that's not to say that there is a lack of everyday situations like serving wenches waiting on tables, peddlers gesturing to potential customers, unconscious prisoners hanging suspended over a seawall, carefree pirates point and laugh at the poor lad's misfortune. Wait, what? I love this town. Till sea swallows all, Fern Hollis. And you can see an awesome shot of this poor bastard hanging off the side of this frickin' like plank or whatever on the Astalicia, or one of the pirate ships in Limsa, and there's a female Rogadan pirate just sitting on there laughing on her ass with a couple other guys just laughing at this guy tied up hanging over this thing. I can tell you right now, it's definitely not in 1.0, but the background and the ship just screams 1.0. If you notice in the far back, that shadowy silhouette, that is the battle arena for PvP. That is the Coliseum on water. That is brand new that they added to the Leonesaurus scenario and to the game itself. I guess you take a boat over there, sort of like with the Golden Saucer idea I came up with. And you take a boat over there, and it's an island for a Coliseum. So it's a Coliseum on water for PvP, like 4v4, AV8, stuff like that. Probably even 1v1. Chocobo versus Chocobo or something. So really awesome stuff. Looking good. Next topic we're going on to is Cat Scratch Fever. This was April 24th, 2013. Hello all, Fern Hollis back again, and this time I've spelled my name correctly. Why Fern Hollis isn't included in all spell checkers, I will never know. This weekend, Final Fantasy XIV and Yoshi P will be making an appearance at the Nico Nico Chokaigi Nico Nico Chokaigi 2 being held at the Makuhari Messe Convention Hall near Tokyo. To kick things off, Tuesday, Final Fantasy XIV participated in the business booth presentation battle, where we went head-to-head with several other big companies in a competition to win approximately 10 million yen of free ad space on Nico Nico Doga. But you can't guess who in that sea of suits was representing A Realm Reborn. And you can see the two Makote sitting there, a male on the right and the female Makote sitting on the left of them. And they're sitting in the crowd, and you can obviously tell who's who out of the business suits there. Unfortunately, the power of the paw was not enough to get us beyond the semifinals, but it was a valiant effort nonetheless. And at least we got some great pics like this one. Meow. And you can see the basically the front view of the female Miqo'te cosplayer was fantastic, and this was actually in the cosplay section I covered earlier that the fashion department would create these for promotions and stuff for the game and for the cosplay contest. And you can see the male Miqo'te starting class gear that they have in cosplay form on the right as well. Looks very awesome, very, very accurate to the game. And down here you see the little Moogle next to the awesome Primals poster with all the summons, with Odin in the middle, Bahamut up top. You got Leviathan, Garuda, and Ifrit on the left, followed by the little tiny image to the left or to the right of Odin's horse's legs is Good King Magomag, we're all guessing, which looks undoubtedly like him, even though it's kind of blurry. Followed by Ramu, Titan, and Shiva on the right-hand side. It says, now, on a completely different note, Em and I have finally received our prize for hitting the Square Enix members' ultimate tier this year. And it is in the pinnacle of awesome sauce, if such sauce even have such a pinnacle. People told us we were crazy, but I knew buying 20 copies of 13.2 would pay off. Kupla Kopo approves. See y'all this weekend. Fern Hollis. Alright, so the next one is Smile, Smile, Joy, Joy, which it's a lot like Happy, Happy, Joy, Joy from Ren and Stimpy. It's pretty funny. April 26, 2013. Hello, Fern Hollis here. While I was stuck at my desk all day thinking up names for gear dye colors, Project Manager N was over at the Makuhari Messe Convention Center putting the final touches on the Final Fantasy XIV booth for tomorrow's big event at the Nico Nico Chokaigi 2 Color Me Rotano Blue. Whew, that was a mouthful. She sent me this email with pictures. Hey Fern, hope you're having fun at your desk thinking up names for gear dye colors. I'm here at the convention center rubbing elbows with the internet elite. While the rest of the Square Enix staff were working away, Soken and Buko were pretending to look busy as they played with the brand spanking new Surface tablet PCs Microsoft had provided for the show. And you can see an image there of Foxclon on the left and Masayoshi Soken, who is the sound director for 14, on the right, messing around there with the touchpad. I even caught Kupla Kopo trying to illegally download a recording of Good King Magomag 12. Bad Moogle, bad. You see him sitting there on the Windows 8 tablet, looks like. They had all sorts of colorful keywords you can catch. Kuplo and I liked blue the best. You don't think they notice if just one happened to go missing now, do you? Yeah, they probably would. Oh, but today wasn't all fun and games. You guys got serious when it came time for the rehearsal and pulled off the practice performance without a hitch. I'm sure they'll be more than ready for the main event. Jinx! Alright then, I'm off to wine and dine with the president of some global conglomerate, so I'll see you tomorrow. Oh wait, I won't because you'll be at your desk working on those 200 monster attack names. Toodles! Project Manager M. I'll deal with her when she gets back. Fern Hollis. And this is the stage you see Foxclon on the right. I'm not familiar who that is on the left, but he's another one of the dev guys I know that works on the forums and the live letters you see him in some of the previous shows. So you can see all the little minions lined up across the screen with the Japanese text and the Windows 8 promotion across up top. And it segues into the next one, which has to do with this. Now, these ones I have not really looked or read over yet. This is More Than Meets the Odd Eye, April 28th, 2013. Hello all, Fern Hollis here. It was a long week, so I thought I'd spend my Sunday at home relaxing with a good movie and an ice-cold adult beverage. I had made it halfway through the movie and all the way through the beverage when I made the mistake of taking a break and checking my mail. Hey Fern, it's me, Em. You didn't think I'd let you spend your Sunday at home relaxing with a good movie and a nice cold adult beverage, did you? At least not while I'm here slaving away at the Nico Nico Chokaigi, too. Today, the Final Fantasy XIV booth held a special player event. Lucky participants got to choose from one of 4 different face types and have a professional makeup artist transform them into the real-life Miqo'te. Throw on a pair of velvety ears and a temporary tattoo. And we have... I think I'm in love. On second, though, oh, and Fern, don't even think of turning off your PC. I don't know when my next update is coming or what it'll be about, but you better be ready when I send it. Toodles, Project Manager M. It's going to be a long night. Fern Hollis. You see Yoshi P here. Fucking, they dressed him up as a male Makote. Oh my god, look at his freaking hair. He looks ridiculous. I love. Oh, someone's got to do a meme of this. This one right here. Someone's got to do it. This is like freaking awesome. This is epic. So I'm guessing this is the process of him doing all the makeup and getting his hair all situated and his little ears. And I guess they picked him as like the bottom left one, I'm assuming, because he looks most like that one with slight hair changes. And he's got the makeup and everything on, if you can see. And he's like, I don't know what the hell this thing is. It's like some Japanese freaking chibi bear or something. And he's got like the tail and everything. It just looks like a male Makoto. It's awesome. So that goes into the last blog article, which is a continuation, a two-parter, Rear Window. And this one was released simultaneously as the one I just read. This was April 28th, 2013. It was today. Hello all, Fern Hollis back again for today's second installment of the developer's blog. In case you missed the first post, you could check it out here. Now, moments after I'd sat back down to my movie, a new adult beverage in hand, did I hear my mailer chime? It couldn't be. It's only been 5 minutes. It simply couldn't be M again. Why, yes, it could. Hey, Fernie. M here. Did you miss me? You weren't thinking of sitting back down to your movie, a new adult beverage in hand, were you? We have work to do. The Nico Nico Chokaigi 2 is over, but that doesn't mean I can't still bring the starveling masses some scrumptious recaps. Just look at all the exciting stuff that happened over the past 2 days. Our tireless sound director and Nisox aficionado held a talk session with one of the voice actresses featured in A Realm Reborn. Look at all the people who gathered to watch. Our tireless sound director and Nisox connoisseur composed a new jingle right on stage in a matter of minutes. What a pro. Our tireless sound director and Nisox nabbler got down and dirty to take some photos of our booth's cosplayers. That doesn't look like the company camera. Our tireless director and Nisox... Hey! Don't let Soka know it was me who called security. Talk to you again tomorrow. Toodles. Project Manager M. I put down my beverage for this? Fern Hollis. So interesting stuff. This is basically behind the scenes with the staff with Soken and Yoshi P and some of the other guys working on the game. You can see on this little pedestal here, that's the official script for the game with all the voice actors going around like a 360-degree angle. And before I wrap this video up, I want to go to Twitter real quick on the 14 section. And I want to just show you some of the images, some more that aren't featured on the official site. Now, this is just a back shot of the cosplayers and setting up the event. And this is an awesome one. Now, I wish I had a better image, but let me see if I can blow this up real quick. Okay, this is, oh, perfect. Okay, so this is a billboard or something that they have on promotion at the event, and you can see all the freaking minions, and including new ones. And I want to point out, if you notice in the middle, right beneath the goblin, you see the Tomberry. That's right, for the first time, the Tomberry makes his appearance in the world of Eorzea in Final Fantasy XIV. He was not in A Realm Reborn. We never had him. And this is a minion, so I'm assuming the adult version of Tomberries are going to look much the same, but bigger and a little bit more, fleshed out a little bit more. But a little baby Tomberry is a minion you get now, which is awesome. And I'm so glad. Hopefully they still stick with that art style, because I really did not like the 11's Tomberry art style. Kind of looked like a cross between Yoda and Kermit the Frog, whereas this one looks more like a little lizard, a little chibi lizard, and it looks really cool. So I'm glad they went with that Tomberry design. That worried me for like 2 years straight. I'm not even kidding. Believe it or not. You see two new additions. The baby buffalo, great buffalo on the bottom left, which is brand new. That was not shown previously. The cat as well is also new. We got a cat now you can get along with the dog that you can see on the far left with the bandana. You see 3 chocobos wearing like some sort of Onion Knight helms on the bottom, the 3 lined up. You see a baby doe. The Cactar, surprisingly, is the classic Final Fantasy Cactar as a minion, not the 14 version of Cactar, which had me worried about what type of actual enemy they would have for the Tonberry. But for the Cactar, they went with the classic style as a little minion, which is really cool. So they have both versions of Cactars in this game, which is really interesting. They have Kate Sith right there, and a Flan, a purple Flan, if you can see him, his big yellow eyes next to Kate Sith, right next to him. So you got a baby Flan, a Fungar that's buried in there right next to the Flan, and on the top you can see an Armin, and on the far left you see a big, it looks like, I think that's a Puck. It looks like a big round bloated Puck with wings and its little stripes, so very awesome. They added some new minions we have not seen yet, and they also included all the ones we've seen in the past, but bigger and all bunched together in a really cool promo shot. And I would love to have that in my room. That is so awesome. So if we dial it back a bit, we can see another shot of the cosplayers that we saw. Obviously some screen caps. Now let me see if I can get to the Japanese section, because I have them followed here on Twitter. Let me see, following. See if I can find them. Final Fantasy, here we go. Okay, so I got some of the developers and the community members on follow too, so because sometimes they post exclusive images that the official Twitters don't post sometimes either, which is why I follow them as well. So you see, like, as here proven, some more images and stuff of I guess I can close these out. But yeah, you can see some more images. Here's the Calibri that we saw previously, which is really cool. Here's another side image of... Oh, by the way, you see here, these were not in the other... There's... I don't know if I can view this better. I guess that's best I can get. You see a little bit clearer image. You can see some of the baby raptor up there, the baby dodo, the Tonberry. You can see a lot better by himself. He's got his little silly tail. You notice a bird up there too. There's a bird minion. So you get a little bird follower that can tweet around and flutter around with you. You got your little cat, which is really cool. I know there's a lot of cat fans out there having your little faithful kitten with you. You got your Great Buffalo, your Marlboro, your Sylph, your Kate Sith, baby Behemoth, the dog, the bomb. And then if you scroll down a bit, you notice right here in the center, there's like a couple Tonberries. So I'm wondering, or not Tonberry, Mandragora. So they are enemies in the game, but I'm wondering if they're going to be minions too. That would be kind of interesting. A little Mandragora Manny follow you around. That'd be really neat for fans of them in 11. And if we come back here, we see another shot of the, let me see if I can zoom in, of the script from the game. And you can see all the people signing the script right there. There's like a bunch, I don't know if that's like duplicates or if that's just like multiple scripts of different, you know what I think that it is? I think that's the German, English, Japanese, and French, because there's 4 copies, and I don't know what's on the other side, if there's anything at all. But I'm assuming that's like the voice actors signing their names on the respective language of each of the script version of the script. So that's really interesting to have that on display, so you can see who's participating in the game, if you can even read their signature, and all that good stuff. So can't wait to hear more from that and see who's going to be involved in the game. Okay, so I think that's everything for this episode. That's going to wrap up this podcast for Final Fantasy XIV: A Realm Reborn. If you have any questions, PM me. If you got anything big and detailed, comment below if you have anything you want to ask or discuss or stir up some conversation, cool things you guys like to add. Hopefully this video was enjoyable. You found it entertaining and informative, and I'll see you guys in the next one, guys. Stay awesome.